because I won't be able to put it back the same way. I have the camera propped up on a dye pot, and I'm using my new tripod. So I'm just going to use some leaves to mark where I want it to sit in case this works really well. It's podcast day. It's podcast day. Hey friends, Mars here, known otherwise as heyBrownBerry around the internets. I'm outside today, sitting in my front yard, and as usual, I'm recording because there are things I want to share with you, and I've actually given myself a challenge. Whether you podcast or not, if you're here, you most likely appreciate the work that goes into providing this kind of content. This is primarily a making-centered podcast. So, aside from the project work that goes into things I'd like to share with you from my own making journey, there is the work of the episode itself. So, recording, setup, gathering of things, and then editing. I've given myself a challenge to pretty much do all of those things within 90 minutes. Fear not, this is not going to be a 90-minute podcast. I've given myself 90 minutes to set up the things around me, set up my camera, record the content, and get a good way into editing. I'm not going to include the editing within that 90-minute window because history says that I get very particular once the recording is already done, so I won't know until I'm doing it how long it will take me to edit. I like to provide captions when I can. I like to include videos and photos from other parts of my week or things that are good examples of what I'm sharing with you. So the editing will very likely take longer, but my goal is for most of this to be a 90-minute process, and it's just a fun challenge for myself because that feels lightweight. So, welcome again. I'm really glad you decided to click on this video and join me. I am enjoying the sunlight today. So I've said before, I will not complain about lighting as long as things are clear and easy for you to see. You could probably tell by the glistening of my skin that it's pretty bright out here, but I'm hoping that works in our favor. And today's episode will contain a variety of things that I've just been excited to share with you. We're going to dive right in because that's how we do it around here. Okay, so I think I'll start with what I'm wearing, which is not knitwear related, actually, but it just gives me an excuse to shout out some people I love. This t-shirt, the center of which says hashtag #OGenesis, is kind of a play on a few things. Genesis is the name of my niece, who's 9 years old, and just in case she's watching, hi Jenna, Auntie loves you. Mwah. My sister has 4 kids. I have 2 nieces and nephews that I love like my own, and my sister designed this shirt in celebration of Genesis and her budding gymnastics career. So the OG is a play on Orlando Gymnastics, where she competes, and it's just got a lot of really powerful affirmation words on it. A scripture that my sister thought was really apropos to Jenna's efforts, and on the sleeve it says Auntie. I'm a super fan of hers. Related to this particular podcast and my making journey and my designer journey, I designed a pair of socks, the Pebbles and Pathways socks. And part of that effort was to generate some funds and help Jenna in her gymnastics career. I'm going to call it a career because she is incredible and she's already done so many amazing things at her young age. So if any of you are out there and you've purchased that sock pattern from Ravelry or shared it or gifted it with someone, thank you. Genesis and I thank you for that. So, and I'm very proud of this. My sister is an amazing graphic designer. It's not even her full-time day job, but she's really good at creating imagery for things like this. And so the whole family has shirts with their respective place in Jenna's life on them. So, hi, Sister Berry. I love you. And what else I'm wearing? So I'm also wearing some very special jewelry. This is custom jewelry that was made with from a collaboration with a jewelry designer whose name is Amy. Hi, Amy. I'm going to put Amy's information in the description box below. It's a necklace and earring set that was made from some gorgeous pottery pieces. Let me get a little closer. These are yarn balls that were made by my dearest friend, Natalie. Natalie is the potter behind Remembrances Pottery. Okay. Natalie gifted these to me as part of an Advent swap last year, and as soon as I saw them, I thought, I have to do something with these. She made a lot of them for me. Hi, Natalie. And I was really happy that I already knew Amy's work and could ask her to create a custom set for me. So it's just nice to have handmade things that remind you of other people. That's one of the things I enjoy most about handmade, is that some part of that person comes with the item, and that's really special to me. So there's not a lot of cloud cover, which means I'm going to be really toasty in this black t-shirt. Benefit to you all is that this will be a very nice, tidy, efficient, shorter episode, most likely. A couple of the things I wanted to share with you. I have been very excited to unbox or open up. I recently came back from the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. A huge thank you to those who've watched my vlogs and left such amazing feedback on those vlogs. I was really happy to be able to share Scotland and the festival with you, and primarily to let you virtually meet some of the people that I met and visit the places I visited. I love that about this medium. Being able to have you with me on my travels means a lot. One of the people I met while I was there is Marina Skua, and she's a designer and technical editor and a yarn dyer and many other things I've discovered. She's got a great podcast here on YouTube as well. Even though I was with Marina for a few days and got to speak to her, I had not tried or seen her yarn before, and I had the good fortune of being able to see her talent in action while we were hanging out together at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and actually to see some of her yarns and designs as well. When I got home, I ordered some of her yarn, which is probably not the first thing you would think to do after leaving a yarn festival, is to order more yarn. But I really wanted to see Marina's work in its original format, and I'm glad that through the power of the internet I was able to do that. When it arrived, my first thought was, I really want to open this right now, but it would be fun to open it on the podcast and share it with you at the moment that I'm seeing it. Of course, I've seen images of what's in here through Marina's website, and that's how I selected these items. But I wanted to do sort of an unboxing while recording. So I've got two things here. One is yarn and one is fiber. Love Marina's packaging. She completely speaks to my whole minimal but elegant packaging aesthetic. She has some monogrammed labels on here, some very good paper wrapping, and I'm gonna take a look at what's inside here. So we'll start with the yarn, I think, which is in here. Maria. Hi, Maria. Marina is someone I've started following recently. Her podcast is excellent. She's got a few episodes out there that are worth watching. And she is someone I'm learning from about things like natural dyeing and design. So I really wanted to have a piece of her here with me. So she uses non-superwash yarns for the most part, as far as I'm aware. And her base is called Mendip. Look at this. I should have been prepared for the fact that I would be opening this on camera, and I have no poker face. Wow. So I knew on screen that these were colors I would like to see together and use together, but in person, they're even better than I expected. One of the things about natural dyeing in my own experience that is so satisfying is the depth of color and the dimension. I've talked about this before. Even solid colorways have so much in layers to them. Let's see if you guys can see this. Here's her label. And I'll give you a close-up of the yarn itself. And here's the other one. Marina, these are amazing. And actually, I can see some elements of this color within this skein, and I don't know if that's actually intentional or it's just that they coordinate so well together that that's popping. So the base is Mendip, Stormy. This colorway is called Branch. This colorway is called Fire. So loving the earthy theme there. The specs on these, so it's a 4-ply, they're both 50 grams each, about 164 yards or 150 meters. It looks like it would knit up at about a fingering weight, maybe a little heavier than fingering gauge. It calls for a needle size somewhere between 2.25 and 3.25 millimeters. It is 100% British wool, and I love that. Marina includes the following information. This yarn is spun in England from the wool of a single flock that grazes on the Mendip Hills, hence the name. It is then hand-dyed in colors inspired by nature. Stormy is a rustic, heathery colored base. I am a sucker for a fiber story. Thank you, Marina. As I said, I purchased these after meeting her, so it feels really special to me to have another memory of the Edinburgh Yarn Festival and of the good time that I had meeting you. Next up is some fiber. I am a spindle spinner. I do not yet own a wheel. I do have the fiber stash of someone who should have a wheel. Should? Is that a thing? I have the fiber stash of someone who will really enjoy a wheel when I get one. Yeah, I like that. So Marina is a wheel spinner, and she's got lots of good content in her videos about her spinning and actually about her fiber prep process too. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I've just opened the fiber. It is Garam Masala, that's the colorway name. It's about 25 grams of wool, alpaca, and kid mohair. I adore this. Honestly, it's so different. Maybe it's having it in my hands and being able to see it up close, but I knew what I wanted when I was shopping, but this is an affirmation seeing it. I'm going to open it up a little bit and give you a sense of how gifted Marina is at blending. You see that? Go really close. Oh, this is beautiful. I hope to maintain the integrity of what she's done here in terms of mixing in light and dark colors into the one blend. I have to think about exactly how I want to spin this so that I can really get the benefit of that. I'm still a newbie. I'm still learning with my spindle, so even thinking through how I want the fiber to appear in single ply form and then in plied form has been a real learning experience for me. And I, you know, looking at this, if you're a spinner, if you have suggestions for me on how best to spin something like this with this content and this prep, please leave a comment below, because I'm learning and I love being able to crowdsource that learning. Thank you, Marina. Awesome. Slight theme here. And I'm okay with that. So that was fun unboxing that with you guys sort of here with me. Of course, I will link to Marina's shop in the description box, as with all of my show notes. You can find information there. Speaking of natural dyeing, I've been doing some myself lately. Behind me, you can see some skeins that I've hung out to dry, as it is a perfect day for drying yarn and fabric. I've had some yarn in the dye pots for the last few days. I'm trying to be much more patient with my natural dyeing process. You just get really good results if you can just be a little bit patient. Leaving things on a low heat, for example, for a longer time, letting yarns soak in the dye stock longer, even overnight or for days. Prepping materials, like soaking materials before you actually begin to use them, have all been things that I've been trying. And I'm not a naturally patient person when it comes to creative things. I like to, first of all, I like to dive right in. I want to get into all of it right away, and I want to see the result. So I enjoy the process. There are many steps in the process of natural dyeing that I genuinely enjoy. But the waiting for the final yarns or fabrics is really hard for me. Do you find that too with any of your making? But then when I do fight that instinct and I wait, it's so worth it. It is really evident in the saturation of colors, for example. So yeah, I'm excited to see how those turn out. I'm going to insert here just a little bit of a break. I like to call it a brain break, and show you some video of my process and some of the items I've been using to natural dye in the last several days. Enjoyed that. Everything that I know so far about natural dyeing has come from talking to my friends who already do it quite effectively, and reading and watching YouTube tutorials. So I do not profess to be an expert. I am just an ambitious beginner, and I like to be resourceful and just pull from different areas and use that information in an experimental format. So I'm willing to give things a try, and that's worked out really well for me. On that note, I went to my library, my local county library's website, and looked up what resources they have in the form of books on natural dyeing, and I found this book. This book is The Complete Guide to Natural Dyeing, Techniques and Recipes for Dyeing Fabrics, Yarns, and Fibers at Home. It's by Eva Lambert and Tracy Kendall. I'm so grateful that my library has materials like this, because to make this kind of, to make this sort of activity accessible is huge for me. you'll probably hear me talk more often than not about the economics of making, because that's something I've really been mulling over lately. What does it mean to be able to afford a craft, a hobby, a business, a small venture? And to get this free, essentially, from my local library means that I get the wealth of information from these authors, and I can keep it for a time, and I can use parts of it, send it back to the library so someone else can use it, and then go get it again if I need it. So that accessibility is really huge. The layout of this book so far, having looked through it, it separates, hang on, just a bit of background noise. Okay, so I just had one of those hilarious podcaster moments where I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. And so I was here adjusting myself, and that's what I caught on video instead of what I was trying to tell you about this book. So the format of this book is separated into yarn dyeing techniques versus fabric dyeing techniques. And it talks about all different types of plants and all different types of fabrics that you can dye on. And I like that the two things are separated, because there are differences between yarn dyeing and fabric dyeing that are pretty key. Not all dyes are created the same. Not all dyeable materials are created the same. So I like that there's a separation between the two. What I'm going to do is just flip through the book really quickly, just so you can have an idea of what's in here. And then if you're interested, I'll make sure to link the title and authors below. Let's do a giveaway. I don't often do giveaways in the standard format. That's a topic for another day. I just like to do giveaways because I'm really happy that you're here, and often I have things that I would love to share. So this is my type of giveaway. It's called a gratitude giveaway, and it shows my gratitude for you sharing this space with me. There's nothing you need to do. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance that you're a subscriber to this channel, and I am going to pick from that list of subscribers. So the giveaway is going to be for this book. This is the John Arbon Textiles Annual. It's kind of a short form book / magazine that I found out about when I was at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I became a John Arbon Mill member this year. There's some great information about Mill membership on the John Arbon website, which I'll link below. But the beauty of this book is that I was able to meet in person the people who run the mill, own the mill, sell for John Arbon, design for John Arbon, people who use their multi-talented efforts to put together something like this, including people like Katie of the Katie Green Bean podcast. Hi Katie, if you're watching. She is an artist in many formats. She uses her art to express her love of wool and fiber and hand making, and she's the artist behind this spread. It's a very detailed representation of a portion of the mill itself and some of the people who work there. And it's also a Where's Waldo or Where's Wally style find the hidden Mr. Smoke activity. So Mr. Smoke is a cat who presides over the mill, and in some places within this gorgeous spread, if you look really hard, you can find him. I also got to meet in person my friend Becks, who is such an inspirational spinner. There she is with Katie. I met her in person, sat down and chatted with her, and just my spirit took to her. That's what we say in Jamaica. When your spirit takes to somebody, it just means that you connect with them quite instantly. Katie is a gifted artist, and she has done quite a few things within this book. There are patterns in here as well. There are stories about the yarns that are most recently being produced at the John Arbon mill. A lot of the patterns that are in here are very knittable, very tempting. And as part of my mill membership, which is for me an affordable annual or lifetime membership fee, it is a way for me to explore this woolly world even further. And it came with several shade cards. Really come in handy. There are Floridians who love wool. I keep telling you guys this. It shows that there is just a wealth of non-superwash, color variant, very different weights and textures available out there. And I'm actually hoping that at some point I'll be able to go and visit the mill myself. That's one of the privileges of membership. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. I'll put the website information down below. And to be part of the gratitude giveaway, I will be drawing from my list of subscribers, and I will announce the winner either on Instagram or here on YouTube in a short video, and you're going to receive this book and probably a couple other goodies as well. Although it's warm here in South Florida, for many of you it is still woolly weather, and spring is here, but it shows up at different times around the world, obviously. So it's shawl weather for many of you, and I wanted to just give you a really quick view of my latest design release on Ravelry, which I call the Ritual Shawl. Ritual is my 2019 word, my focus word. And I decided to call this the Ritual Shawl because of its construction. It's a triangular shawl of pretty good wingspan, and it has a knitted on lace border. The pattern has been live now for a few weeks. I released it on March 19th, and I called it Ritual because the first portions of the shawl are actually quite straightforward, and they're meant to mimic those pieces of our lives that are somewhat predictable, fairly smooth. Every now and then we get windows into what's coming next, which is represented by the eyelets. Every now and then we come across some bumps, some obstacles, represented by these garter ridges. And then there are just the completely complex but often very beautiful pieces of life that, you know, we kind of have to focus a little bit more on those things. We have to give a bit more energy to it, but in the end it's usually worth it, and there's often a beautiful result. So for me, this shawl represents all of those pieces of, you know, a typical life coming together. And I've been featuring some of my amazing test knitters, and I want to publicly say thank you to all of you who test knit this pattern for me. It was a pleasure to get to know you through this process. I want to say a huge thanks to my technical editor, Jessica. Jessica Schwab has tech edited a couple of my patterns now, and we both refer to her as my pattern doula. She helped me birth this baby. Highly recommend her services, by the way. You can find her on Instagram as JujiFruit0, and I'll link to her information below. So the Ritual Shawl is out and available now. If you are still in a climate where shawls are appropriate, I hope you'll go find it and cast it on. That would be amazing. And obviously I would love it if you tag me if you cast it on, because I want to follow through this ritual knit with you. So I do have some works in progress that are time sensitive. So I'm going to be wrapping up the podcast here soon so I can go work on them, including a test knit for my Maria, who is Ninja Chickens. She's got a pretty epic design release coming, and I've previewed a little bit of it, the Seer Cloak, on previous podcasts and on my Instagram page. So I don't have that out here. It's a really substantial project, and I cannot wait to share it with you. On the smaller end of the project side of things, I'm going to touch on this very quickly because it's a design I'm working on that I can't share, but I wanted to share an element of it with you. It is a sock pattern, and the piece of this process I wanted to share with you, this is just a toe. I can't reveal much more than that. The element I wanted to share with you was just one of those things that's been on my mind, and it's, again, the accessibility of this making journey, meaning what are the things we can do to make it so that more people who want to be part of the making community and create things can be part of it. For this particular design, which will come out in a publication to be announced, was using yarn that is a lower price point yarn with high quality. This is Patton's Croy sock yarn. It's a 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. I don't use a lot of superwash yarns anymore. However, I intentionally designed this new pattern in this yarn because here in the US it costs about almost $6 for a 50-gram ball, and I have larger feet, so for a pair of socks for me, I could make that for about $12, using up all of both skeins. Some people, if they were using a mini skein in addition to this, could probably get away with a pair of short socks with one skein. But at a $6 price point, my hope is that producing a high quality pattern in an affordable yarn will grow the circle of people who, I love that, who are able to and who want to knit this design. So that's just something I've been thinking about. As always, I welcome your comments around that topic. I really think that when we talk about inclusivity and diversity with friends, my iPhone got too hot to continue using out on the lawn. So to protect the investment of this item, I moved into the shade. And since I was wrapping up anyway, I thought I would just finish my thought. I want to be clear when I talk about affordable yarns. This is not meant in any way to take away from independent dyers and folks who provide hand spun and other really gorgeous materials. There is absolutely a place for that. And I support that in my action. I buy plenty of those yarns that are at higher price points because they're worth it. It's huge value. But you know, for every single project, you're making a choice, and I just want people to know that there are good choices out there. I've used this yarn for years, and it washes well. It holds up well for socks especially. So yeah, I was just conscious of that while doing this design, and anytime you pick a pattern, you also get to pick the materials. In most cases, you can pick the materials that you want to use, so just something I'm thinking about. Maybe you're thinking about it too. And yeah, that's all I want to say about that. I really am grateful that I had some time to spend with you today and that I could share my sunshine with you. And I'm going to do my best to now edit this podcast. Just so you know, I did successfully make it in under 90 minutes, at least with the recording. I'm hoping that the yarn that I've dyed will dry in time, that I can just add on a clip at the end to show you some of my natural dyeing results. I'd love to share those skeins with you as well. As always, get in touch with me. I love to hear from you. I am frequently on Instagram. You are very welcome to comment here on this YouTube video, and I welcome the conversation. So thanks for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.